Howdy folks, Jamboriki here. So a new movie adaptation of the beloved Mortal Kombat video games has been released this month, which has inspired me to go all the way back to 1995 to take a look at the first ever time Mortal Kombat was turned into a movie. Mortal Kombat is a special martial arts tournament created by the Elder Gods. It's hosted by two representatives, Raiden, Defender of the Earthrealm, and Shang of the Outworld. If the Outworld wins this year's Mortal Kombat tournament, then its evil emperor will be able to invade Earth. Raiden decides to select 3 warriors to represent Earth: action movie star Johnny Cage, Shaolin monk Liu Kang, and military officer Sonya Blade. Can our human heroes win the tournament and save Earth from this supernatural threat? Despite being a commercial success, this film used to have a pretty unflattering reputation. But it's recently gone under re-evaluation, and many fans have come to praise its faithfulness to the games. Now, as someone who has never played Mortal Kombat before, I'm no authority on this film's loyalty to its source material, and could only give my verdict as a film critic. I'll admit right away that this movie has not aged entirely well. The dialogue is incredibly corny, and the hokey conversations come off as unnatural.
If I challenge him now, I can finish this.
You're making this all sound really simple, and it isn't.
Yeah, it is. Because I can't let what happened to Art happen to you. Not to you.
Oh, don't you dare do this to protect me, Johnny Cage.
The acting is quite cheesy at times too.
Oh yes, I forgot. We're fighting for the fate of the world!
And the crude CGI effects really are a product of the time.
Come here!
However, you all know that I love my trashy B-movies, so I didn't mind these issues too much. Sure, these problems made it hard for me to buy into the story, but I can't say that I was ever bored. The thing is too, even though this movie can get very silly at times, it is fully capable of creating a distinct atmosphere. The direction does a great job hyping up the tension in foreboding locations, and the excellently designed sets are full of dark mystique. This is a film that really knows how to craft a theatrical mood, which is ideal for a movie centered around fight sequences. So what about our heroes? Well, they definitely have incentives for joining this tournament. First we have Liu. His younger brother was killed by Shang, so he ran away to America to escape his responsibilities and guilt. He's so focused on his revenge that he can't reach his full potential as a martial artist. As the film goes on, he becomes a more instinctive fighter with better concentration skills. I do like seeing a film in which a lead hero's fighting talents are challenged by their mental health, because it makes them more relatable and human. It's also pretty cool seeing him confront Shang with his newfound endurance towards fear, because Shang is way less intimidating to a mortal who feels secure about himself. There's something empowering about seeing a character using self-love to intimidate his enemy.
I am the chosen one.
But I also really liked how Liu comes to terms with his brother's death in the finale. Many audiences do seek films to comfort their grief, and even a cheesy 90s video game movie can provide that reassurance.
Chan.
One day, we will be reunited. But until then, my spirit will always be with you.
Johnny Cage joins the tournament to prove his true skills as a martial artist, because the tabloids are labeling him as a fake. His desire to prove his authenticity means that he ends up going into fights with a reckless foolishness. Well, that's what Raiden says, but the film never really shows that, and he seems to be doing pretty well in the tournament. Although it is made very obvious that his character flaw is his arrogance. You'd think this would force Johnny to gradually earn his confidence, but he just ends up jumping into a fight with Goro, the Mortal Kombat champion, completely out of the blue. Yeah, he has a plan and wins the fight, but his approach isn't exactly a great way of demonstrating a new humble attitude. Sonya is introduced as someone who wants to avenge her murdered partner, which is a good foundation for an action character. But the film resolves this plot right away when she's given the chance to kill her target in a match. so then she just ends up hanging around for the rest of the film. Now, yes, we do also learn that she has a fear of trusting others to work with her, which makes complete sense for someone traumatized by witnessing her partner's death. Of course she'd be reluctant to team up with anyone again after that. However, the supposed friendship she makes with Johnny and Lou is pretty weak and paper thin. Because we've had little to no bonding moments between these three, they've mainly been aggressively bickering or arguing.
Just the way I like them. Dumb and ugly.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake, huh?
Well, it was easy for me.
Oh, get over yourself.
Oh, what is it with you guys? We're standing, they're not.
The film keeps trying to use this apparent friendship to motivate our heroes, but the camaraderie is barely there. I mean, they're only besties because, well, the film says so. I really do think that the film should have given these three opportunities to hang out as friends outside the tournament. Quiet social activities to help them bond while they wait for the next fight. To make things worse, the film doesn't even wrap up Sonya's character arc tastefully. You see, in the finale, she becomes a chained-up damsel in distress, so all the other characters have to come rescue her. It's a borderline sexist way of showing how a woman can learn to let others help them. It also doesn't make any sense that Sonya, someone who managed to overpower a big burly man earlier on, is now suddenly too weak to break free from Shang's arms. Though, to be fair, she is given a chance to show her strength by refusing to perform Mortal Kombat with Shang. Here's the thing, the finale seems to be all about Liu fulfilling his Chosen One prophecy, but it's never explained why he's so special, and it's a plotline that doesn't fit a film about characters learning to work as a team. I don't get why this big showdown wasn't about all three heroes teaming up to take on Shang together. This would have given Sonya a more dignified motive for letting others help her, and shown that Johnny Cage can put aside his insecure ego in the name of teamwork. There's a better movie here when you just drop the whole Chosen One thing. There are also characters who serve as teachers for our heroes, wise figures who support these warriors while also letting them work out life lessons of their own. Like Raiden, the god of thunder and lightning. While I'm not a fan of Christopher Lambert's weird, mumbly performance,
Your sideshow freaks attack my fighters. That is expressly forbidden before the tournament, as your emperor well knows.
My sincere apologies.
I really like that he's a god who believes in these mortals, encouraging them to overcome their human insecurities, because our villain feeds on the fear within souls. I admire the idea of a superpowered mentor who pushes those inferior to him to do their best and believe in themselves.
Shang Tsung's power can be destroyed by mortal men and women. You can overcome any adversary, no matter how bizarre their powers may seem. There is always a way.
Then we have Princess Katana of the Outworld. The Emperor killed her parents and then adopted her as his own. She strongly wants to restore balance to her once beautiful world and sees Liu as the one to do it. It's not exactly made clear why she can't save the day herself. All we know is that Liu is constantly referred to as the Chosen One, so she has to turn to him as the hero because the film says so. But she's still a very helpful adversary who offers tournament advice and words of encouragement.
Use the element which brings life.
Water.
Now, out of all the characters in this ensemble cast, Shang stands out as the most memorable one. He's this fine line between sinisterly creepy and entertainingly hammy. He comes off as effectively intimidating, especially when he's sucking someone's soul, but he'll also have moments of scenery chewing too. The fact that he's managed to take control of such powerful warriors as Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Reptile adds an imposing menace to his abilities as a sorcerer. He really has this commanding presence that fits a character who feeds on fear itself. Actor Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa has been applauded for his performance as Shang because he really sinks his teeth into playing a campy video game villain and seems to be the only actor who can pull off the cheesy dialogue with any dignity.
My friends will come for me.
Hoping against hope. Such an endearing human trait, I'm touched.
So what about the action in this movie? Well, the tournament itself is kind of confusing, because I was always uncertain what actually counted as an official battle half the time, and there's no structure to what's going on. It's just a bunch of random fights, both supervised and unsupervised. Oh, and it's also deeply offensive that all the token black characters end up being the losers of their match and the victims of Shang's soul-sucking. If you're a black man in this movie, you're not going to win or survive. Yikes. Yeah, like I said, this film has not aged well. Despite all this though, the stunts themselves are very exceptional and impressive. Each fight is highly inspired by Hong Kong action flicks, an influence that's very obvious in the choreography. There's a fast-paced momentum to the fighting sequences, and the stunts are performed with vigorous strength on both sides. Plus the camera always makes sure that we can vividly see the techniques at play. Although you can still tell that a Hollywood studio is behind the filming and editing, so it never really fully recaptures Hong Kong martial arts cinema. While the violence is far less bloody compared to the video games, there's still some brutality to the punches, kicks, and chops. I mean, you can totally feel the painful impact of the more intense attacks. The music is a major highlight of the action too. It's this fantastic mix of pumped up electronic dance and kick-ass metal rock. Every single fight in this film is incredibly enhanced by the soundtrack's high-octane score. Plus, when the official Mortal Kombat theme song plays, the action becomes twice as entertaining, because you can tell that the movie is very proud to associate its stunt work with the video game that inspired it. Now, you're probably wondering how on earth this film counts as a Puppet Panic review. Well, surprisingly, a puppet character is in this movie. You see, Prince Goro is actually an animatronic character. His monstrous head and 2 extra arms are radio-controlled, while his mouth movement has been digitized to sync with the dialogue. Yes, you can tell that this character is an animatronic once you know, because his movements are noticeably robotic, but I really respect the film for making a puppet this ambitious, especially when they had CGI as a resource.
Well, I'm kind of an underworld boss myself, you know. Well, I mean, back home.
How lucky for them! Back home.
Sure, he had physical limitations on set, which is why corners were cut for his fight scenes, but the craftsmanship and hard work is blatantly obvious. This is the only special effect in the film that hasn't aged like milk. And unlike the CGI effects, I can actually believe that this animatronic character is sharing the same screen as the live-action actors. To conclude, Mortal Kombat really shows its age. It's quite a silly and corny movie too, despite its somewhat dramatic intentions. I'll also admit that its hokey dialogue made it hard for me to work out what I should take seriously or not. However, there's a charm to its goofy campiness that makes it very fun. You can also tell that it was made with love and passion. Everyone clearly had a blast working on it, with most of the hard effort going towards the remarkable stunt work and Goro's awesome animatronic suit. At the same time, I think it deserves some praise for sincerely exploring themes of grief, self-worth, and overcoming fear. Could it be a better movie? Sure, totally, but at least the film isn't boring. So those are my thoughts on 1995's Mortal Kombat. What do you think of this movie? Let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to click that like button. In the next episode of Puppet Panic, things are going to get very nostalgic for my UK fans as I take a look at classic British TV shows that used puppetry. Hope you're excited. Cheerio, folks.